As already mentioned, all the living organisms are divided into 5 kingdoms: Monera, Protista, fungi, plantae, and animalia. In the last lecture, we studied about kingdom Monera, and in this, we will study about kingdom Protista. If you look at the tree of life, we have studied about prokaryotic organisms under eubacteria and archaebacteria. With the evolution of eukaryotic organisms, we have protists, and these protists can be plant-like, animal-like, or fungi-like. So the primitive organisms which were eukaryotic and mostly unicellular are included under protists. So the characteristic features of protists are they are eukaryotic cells which have true well-defined nucleus. They are mostly unicellular, but the exception are multicellular algae. They can be autotrophs or heterotrophs, and they live in moist environment. The eukaryotic organisms were essentially identified in 17th century by the work of Anton van Leeuwenhoek after the discovery of microscope. Protists are important for our understanding of evolution of eukaryotes. Let's talk about the cellular structure of protists. Here we have the example of amoeba, paramecium, and euglena. They all are eukaryote and they have well-defined nucleus, like here and here. They have cell membrane, the outermost layer, and they have the jelly-like substance inside the cell which is called cytoplasm. In cytoplasm, most of the metabolic activities take place. These cells have membrane-bound organelles and well-defined organelles. They have mitochondria, which is the powerhouse of the cell because it produces ATP, chloroplast, which is the main site of photosynthesis, contractile vacuoles that help in maintaining osmosis and osmoregulation, excretion of these single cellular organisms, and they have food vacuoles inside which the digestion of food takes place. For locomotion, that is movement from one place to another, they use appendages or structures like flagella, like you see here, or cilia, like you see on top of paramecium, and pseudopodia, which are these folds in the cell membrane of amoeba. Protists are classified into several phyla based on their mode of locomotion, nutrition, and other structural features. There are approximately 45 different phyla in kingdom Protista, but we will be talking about some major that includes protozoa, which are the animal-like protists, and then golden algae, brown algae, red algae, green algae, flagellates, slime mold, and water mold. Let's talk about phylum Protozoa. Protozoa includes organisms like amoeba, paramecium. They are unicellular because they are animal-like, they cannot produce their own food, and they are heterotrophs. They are motile. For motility, they may use pseudopodia like in case of amoeba, or cilia like in case of paramecium, or a flagella. They are found in aquatic and moist environments. Their reproduction is mainly asexual by binary fission, but some can also undergo conjugation. Next phylum is chrysophytes, which are golden algae. They are also unicellular, while some may form colonies. They have chlorophyll, which gives them greenish color, and the golden yellow color is because of the pigment fucoxanthin. They are mostly found in fresh water, and their ecological importance is that they are the major contributors of phytoplanktons, and phytoplanktons in water are there to perform photosynthesis and increase oxygen in the environment. Phaeophyta is the phylum of brown algae. They are multicellular organisms and they are mostly marine. Their brownish color is because of the pigment fucoxanthin. They form these large structures called kelp, which look like huge leaves underwater, and their importance is for providing habitat to marine life. The phylum of red alga is called Rhodophyta. They are also mainly multicellular organisms. They are marine, and their red color is because of the pigment phycoerythrin. The word erythrin can be remembered from erythrocytes, which are red blood cells in your blood. They can live in greater depth inside the oceans. They are the major contributors of coral reef, which they build by secreting calcium carbonate. Next phylum is Chlorophyta. As the word indicates, chloro means green, so this is the phylum of green alga. These organisms are mainly unicellular. They can be multicellular or make colonies, like you can see here. In volvox, there is a colony of unicellular algae. They contain chlorophyll pigment, which gives green color to plants as well. They are found in freshwater, marine water, and terrestrial environment. They are also important in producing oxygen and perform photosynthesis. Euglenophyta are mainly flagellates. They have flagella in their body for locomotion. They are mostly unicellular. They are mixotropic. They can perform photosynthesis as well as feed on the external food sources. They possess flagella, as already mentioned. They have a unique feature where they possess an eye spot-like organelle which detects light and help them in phototaxis, that means moving in the direction of light. Myxomycota are myco, the word root tells you, fungi. So these are slime mold. These are fungus-like protists. They move like amoeboid movement in certain stages of their life. So they move like amoeba with the help of structures called pseudopodia. They also form spore-producing structures like you can see here. Like fungi, they are mainly decomposers. They break down organic material around us into useful material that can be recycled. Oomycota, again, the word root myco tells you that it will be a fungus. So these are fungus-like protists. They may form filamentous structures and reproduce by spores. They are aquatic, or they live in the moist environment. Some of them can be plant pathogens. As you can see here, you have Phytophthora that has destroyed the stem of this plant. Protists use two different modes of reproduction: asexual, which will be through binary fission, budding, or spore formation, and sexual, which will be through conjugation or syngamy. In the category of asexual reproduction, let's talk about binary fission. Binary fission is the most common method of asexual reproduction. In this, the parent cell grows and divides into two daughter cells, as in amoeba and paramecium. In budding, a small bud grows on the parent organism, like you are seeing here in the example of Hydra, which finally detaches and becomes an independent organism. In multiple fission, the nucleus divides into many daughter nuclei, which then makes the cell split, and there are several daughter cells formed, as you can see in the example of paramecium. Spores are the specialized cells which are produced to survive harsh conditions. These spores can then germinate again when the favorable conditions are back to give rise to the new organism. This phenomena is seen in slime molds. Thus, in different kind of asexual reproductions, you have seen that in the beginning you would only have one parent organism that would form daughter cells or the future or new organism. There is no need of second parent and there is no meiosis. Now we'll study about sexual reproduction. In sexual reproduction, Usually two organisms are involved, and there will be some exchange of genetic material, and a characteristic feature would be at some stage you will see meiosis occurring. First type of sexual reproduction that we'll study is conjugation. Conjugation is when two protists, for example paramecium, comes in a temporary contact with each other and they exchange their genetic material. So the characteristic feature of sexual reproduction was involvement of two parents. At some stage there will be meiosis and there will be exchange of genetic material. In syngamy also, two parents are involved. Here you can see two different types of gametophytes. Gametophytes produce gametes. One would be considered a male gamete and one would be considered a female gamete, or we can just indicate them as positive or negative because there is no distinction in male and female of these protists. So these gametes fuse in the process of syngamy. Now we know that in the beginning there were only one copy of chromosome, that is these organisms were haploid. When they fuse they have now pairs of chromosomes, so two copies of all the chromosomes, and these organisms are diploid. So the zygote formed after the fusion of these gametes would be diploid. These diploid organisms undergo mitosis, they grow in size, but at some point of time they will undergo meiosis to form haploid gametophytes. Thus, the characteristic feature of sexual reproduction is there will be two parents involved. At some stage of life, the diploids will form haploid stages and there will be meiosis involved. Protists are ecologically very important for this planet. They are producers. As algae, they produce oxygen and food through the process of photosynthesis. They are decomposers because they break down organic material, as you can see in the fungus-like protists, and they are also parasites. They live on other organisms and cause various kinds of diseases. Some common diseases caused by protists are malaria, caused by plasmodium, which is transmitted by the bite of mosquito; amoebic dysentery, which is caused by Entamoeba histolytica, and it is transferred or spread by the contaminated food or water; and sleeping sickness caused by Trypanosoma brucei, these parasites, which is transmitted by the bite of tsetse fly. Protists are extensively used in the field of research, and these organisms are used as model organisms. For example, here we can see that for studying chloroplast or mitochondria or the lipid droplets, various kinds of dyes can be used in these single cellular organisms, and we can study the function of these proteins. Protists are also significantly important in the study of evolution of eukaryotes. So to summarize, protists are diverse eukaryotic organisms which are classified as protozoa, which are animal-like, alga, plant-like, or fungus-like protists. They have crucial ecological roles and they produce oxygen and food through the process of photosynthesis and also clean the environment by acting as decomposers, and their study is key for understanding the biological evolution and various environmental processes.